The verse refers to that which is eternal and omnipresent, all-pervading and supremely subtle, which is without exterior or interior, which is the one self. By fully realizing this, one becomes free from sin, free from blemish, and immortal. So Sandeep queries, that the truth is that which is not even in the intellect, but which rather is the essence of the intellect. In other words, the self, the truth, is the intelligence in the intellect. Kindly explain. The intellect, the whole of the internal machinery, just obeys. It has no freedom of its own. The question is, who is being obeyed? Whom is the obedience being offered? Either the mechanical construction itself can be obeyed, either the dynamics of Prakriti can be obeyed, which would simply mean that the machine is obeying itself. Machine is obeying its design, its construction, its configuration. Or the machine can be empowered by, illumined by, driven by, enlivened by something beyond itself. That is the question. No question ever asked is more important than this. How is the machinery being driven? How is the hand being operated? How is the voice being uttered? Who is, in other words, one's master? The legs don't move by themselves. Who is guiding them? Who is pushing or pulling them? Who is breathing life into them? And if these appear to you as gross organs of the body, then go to that which most people take as their subtlest form, thought. From where are your thoughts arising? To whom are your thoughts loyal? Please, don't let the fantastic notion of free will hinder your capacity to observe the whole process of will. Thoughts just don't arise on their own. Neither do you choose them? You choose on the basis of your thoughts. All your choices are based on your thoughts. But do you choose your thoughts? Anybody here who has choice over his thoughts? Even if you say you have a choice, did you have a choice over this choice? Whenever thought would look at itself, honestly, it would find that it is subservient to someone, it is obeying someone. Who is being obeyed? Who is sending your thoughts? Who is dispatching your thoughts? The Cain Upanishad puts it exquisitely. By whom? By whom? Cain, the word itself is beautiful. That query is from where the Upanishad draws its name. By whom is the mind propelled? Cain Prishita. Who has sent it? You have not sent it. Get rid of that arrogant assumption. It is not yours. The very thought that thought is yours is merely a thought. It does not go beyond itself. Who is the father of your thought? Thought can arise from two places. Either the inbuilt need to continue with and secure the mechanisms of Prakriti, or the deepest urge for freedom that you usually don't identify with. Mostly, in the history of mankind, thought has been a servant only to the inbuilt physical mental tendencies. We think how to secure ourselves, we think about the future, we think about the past. We keep thinking in terms of space and time, myself and others. All thought requires an object, and we keep thinking of everything that is worldly, that is material. In fact, that's the nature and limit of thought. It cannot delve into something that is not bounded, not physical, not worldly, not deceptive. Intellect by itself, therefore, would want just one thing: the continuation of itself and the machinery that upholds it. It's a self-driven car. It's a Google car that knows only how to go to the fuel pump and to the service station. It will not take its master anywhere. It will keep serving just its own ends. It is pre-programmed just to keep existing and not reach anywhere. Keep existing, keep hanging in a Trishanku-like state, suspended. In an infinite and unstable equilibrium. The whole thing never comes to a conclusion. Even when something appears stable, it is stable only for a moment. And the game keeps continuing. That's what the intellect is made for, to continue. And to continue means keep existing in time. Keep thinking of the future. Remain either hopeful of the future or scared of the future. Never settle down into meditation. Never go beyond fear. That's the nature of the intellect. Please see where the intellect has come from. This entire apparatus that we call as the body is a result of physical evolution. Now, evolution is not a term that Vedanta uses, but it's a useful term. If you go to Vedanta, it will say Prakriti is Trigunatmak. That's all. Time has resulted in this machinery. That's what evolution is. You keep passing through time, you keep passing through time, you keep passing through time, and that has resulted in this physical form and mental tendencies. Time is what this form, this structure, this system, this instrument is all about. Because it is a function and product of time, so it is deeply attached to time. All that it has is coming from the past. And therefore, all that it can think of is the future. And that future that this system can envisage is nothing but a pale shadow of the past. A pale but transformed and decorated shadow. Nobody ever thought of anything new for the future, even though apparently one always wants a new future. So that's what one exists for. Isn't that boring? To be a product of the stream of past and to exist in time only to move into a future that is nothing but a poor duplicate of the past. Is that joyful? No. And that's why scriptures, Vedanta, keep referring to Anand as not only one's goal, but actually one's nature. It is to remind you that boredom and frustration are not necessary. Anand is possible. And if Anand is not there, then man's life is nothing but boredom. How often can you repeat the past? And that's what we keep doing. I ask you a basic question. Do you want anything for the future that you have no prior experience of? And by experience does not mean that you have actually gone through it. If you have actually gone through it, it's a physical experience. But even if you have heard of it, it is an experience. Even if you have imagined it, it is an experience. Can you want something without having ever imagined it? Can you want something without having read of it or heard of it? So all that you want for the so-called new future is actually stale. That's not exciting at all, is it? It is depressing. And that is why depression is such a common ailment. When there is nothing new in life, when the eternal new is absent, then all that you get is depression. Man is adept at deceiving himself. He transforms, he reconfigures, and then calls it creativity. Reconfiguration or transformation is not creativity. Movement along the same axis, progress in the same dimension is not creativity. The new, the creative has come into your life only when you have gone beyond your existing dimensions. Beyond your existing basis of thought. The basis itself has to be violated, transcended. Only then you have created, and there can be no newness without creativity. We have repetition, not creativity. And that's what the intellect is deft at, repetition. Repetition in fantastic forms. Repetition in forms that appear to be new, but are actually not. Man gets attracted to woman. That was happening 10,000 years back. That's happening even today. Man fights man. That was happening 10,000 years back. That is happening even today. Then you had bows and arrows. Today you have ICBMs. How does it matter? Has something really changed? Nothing. It's also gloomy and dull. Man was born and man would age. And after aging, man would die. That was happening then, that's happening even today. What's new? And you know all that because all that information is contained in your system. Because the body is arising from there. So the body already knows that. And hence when you go to the body and tell the body, and by body, when I say body, read it as body-mind. These two are not really distinct. So when you go to the body, the tan, the ghat, and tell it, I found a woman, superficially the body gets excited. But deep within it keeps crying because it is thirsty for the new. And no man is new, no skin is new, no desire is new, no woman is new. When you are not new, how can anything related to you be new? You have been there since the advent of time. You have fallen in love 1,000,000 times and your heart has been broken 1,000,000 plus 1 times. And you know all that. You do not consciously remember that by way of memory, but you know all that. All those experiences are contained in the cells. All those experiences are flowing as blood in the body. You know all that. Therefore, no man, no woman, no riches, no glory, no prestige, no accomplishment really ever gives you that which you are looking for. You keep bringing good news to yourself, but no good news ever really fully satisfies, or does it? Has any piece of good news ever been good enough to bring you to a closure? To stop your eternal search? Ever had any such good news? And if you look at all the things that you call as bad in your life, you will find that they are inevitably linked to the supposedly good things. Badness is nothing but fake goodness. You brought in something in your life that was not really good, but appeared good. Over time, the appearance gets weaned off and the badness is exposed. In fact, it is not bad at all. Neither is it good nor is it bad. Because you called it good, so later on when your expectations are frustrated, you start calling it bad. You brought a man or woman into your life with huge expectations. Obviously, that person cannot fulfill those expectations. So later on, and often very soon, the goodness turns into badness. The fact of the matter is that the other person is neither good nor bad. It's because you raised high hopes that now you are yelling and howling. Are you getting it? And if the intellect is not illumined, that's what it will keep doing. Please get this very clearly. Left to itself, that's all that this internal mechanism, the antahkaran, knows. Keep moving within its own limits, boundaries. Keep moving within the same dimension while, strangely, hoping to attain something beyond this dimension. It's like trying to attain freedom by ceaselessly wandering inside this room. This incessant movement has been called by various names. The most common of them being rebirth, the cycle of birth and death. Symbolically, which has been presented as man hopping from one of the millions of yonis to other. All that is symbolic, but extremely enlightening. Understand that. Sometimes you are a rabbit, hoping that rabbitness will redeem you. And rabbitness does not redeem you, because rabbitness itself is another configuration of the three gunas of Prakriti. It is nothing new, it is just another configuration. The configuration has changed, the basis has not changed.
The variables are x, y, z. Sat, raj, tam. The combination keeps changing. It is ax plus by plus cz. ABC may keep changing. X, Y, Z are not changing. And by having different values assigned to A, B and C, you keep thinking that you are moving into the new. It's like a cook coming up with a new dish. The fact is that the bases are still the same. It's the same wheat, the same salt, and the same vegetable. Something else has been cooked up. All our life we keep cooking new things, hoping that they are really new. They are not. The stomach knows that they are not new. The eyes can be deceived. The stomach cannot be deceived. When the stuff reaches the stomach says same old wheat. Now they are calling it cake. Yesterday it was just flatbread. Now it is cake. And fantastic names we keep giving to our combinations. This is a new dish. And you say, yes, it is new. What is new in that? Rabbitness does not satisfy you. So you become an elephant. You say, rabbit was too small and too soft. Maybe I need to be sturdy, robust and big. Now, elephantness also fails to quench your thirst. So you move to the next uni. And now you become yeast. And then you become a fungus. And then you turn into sand. And then water. And then a mountain. And then a cloud. And then a bird. Why are you moving from state to state? You are moving from state to state because the intellect is wandering in its own dimension, in its own domain, carrying the futile hope that liberation is possible within this domain. Within this domain lies the rabbit, lies the elephant, lies the ant, lies the fungus, lies the mountain, lies the water. All phenomenal objects, all the perceptible world lies within this domain. All that can be experienced lies within this domain. And we keep moving from experience to experience, from physical state to physical state, from mental state to mental state, hoping to achieve liberation within this state. That is not going to happen. But the intellect, as we said, is designed to keep hoping that it is going to materialize very soon. The intellect and hope go together. Intellect is afraid of despair, that is one engine, and the intellect is fond of hope, that is its second engine. It's a twin engine aircraft that never takes off. Despair and hope. Continuously taxiing on the runway in its own dimension. It can never take off into the other dimension. So you may keep thinking and thinking. Nothing materializes. Guru Nanak Dev put it extremely succinctly. 6. Recite that every morning. सोचे न हो वही जो सोचे लखवार. Keep thinking. That which you want is not going to come to you through the mechanism of soch. And the intellect can do nothing but think. And we are so confident of our thoughts. That's the ego for you. Extremely confident of itself. came to me and said, you know, I'm very underconfident. I said, no, I don't see that you are underconfident. He said, no, I'm underconfident. I said, but you have come to me. You believe me to be the guide, the expert. I'm saying I don't see you as underconfident. He says, I'm telling you I'm underconfident. I said, but believe me, friend, nowhere do I see underconfidence in you. And he says, I am so confident that I am underconfident. That's the intellect for you. He didn't exactly say that. That would have been too dramatic. But you get the drift, right? Even when we say that we do not know, we are confident that we know that we do not know. Even when we say we are underconfident, we are confident that we are underconfident. A fellow comes and says, I am lost. Try telling him that he is not. The fellow comes to you and says, I am lost. Try telling him he is not. He will say, but I am telling you definitely that I am lost. Do you want to let the intellect be a prisoner to itself? Do you want that? And left to itself, the intellect behaves in very self-harming ways. It tries to act independent and keeps suffering. It does not want to take support. It does not want to admit that it needs the hand of something, somebody beyond itself. Do you want to let the intellect be as it is? If you want to let the intellect be as it is, then refer to the newborn child. He has no social conditioning. He is just born. And still his apparatus is fully active. That which you call as individuality and that which I call as mere personality is already active in the newborn. Even in his or her first hour of birth, he has likes and dislikes. Those who can see will see that twins are not the same, even when they are just 2 hours old. Mothers are able to differentiate. They see, they say, this one is more noisy. This one relatively stays calmer. Even before birth, mothers know. Some babies are restless, even boisterous. They keep kicking around in the womb. And some are relatively peaceful. The personality is there. The conditioning of the intellect is there. And if you leave the intellect free, which is not really freedom, but if you leave the intellect to itself, then nothing but its own pre-existing conditioning is going to operate. That brings me to another fallacy. The fallacy is that man is born pure and the society corrupts him. That is not true at all. Society corrupts only the corruptible. Society corrupts man because man is born corruptible. Society corrupts man because man is already not only corruptible but actually corrupted when he is born. Actually, to be corruptible is to be corrupted. Were you not corrupted, how could you be corruptible? Even the newborn child is already corrupted. Corrupted and sometimes irretrievably corrupted. That is why Buddhahood is so rare. As one is born as a bundle of tendencies. Pre-existing tendencies coming from Prakriti or evolution. That's what the intellect is. A product of evolution having the sole desire to perpetuate itself in time, coming from time and wanting to extend into time. And that is why now you would see man has a great desire to procreate. All this lustfulness, all this inclination towards sex is nothing but the desire to continue extending in time. You are coming from time and you want to extend into time, hence sex. The body fully well knows it won't be there after a while, but it wants immortality. It seeks immortality in a very crooked way. It does not seek immortality by going beyond time, by moving into the akal. It seeks immortality by prolonging time, extending time, which is a very deceptive way and also an obviously futile way of seeking immortality. Isn't that the description you often read in the myths and fables? Because somebody is immortal, hence he is living since 10,000 years. That's the intellect's definition of immortality. To live for 10,000 years or 10 million years or whatever. Extend, extend, extend. And extend what? Extend one's own conditioning. Repeat, repeat and repeat. That's what the intellect wants. You will not be satisfied. And because you won't be satisfied by what the intellect is offering you, that's why those who could know, those who could see, the seers, they told you unequivocally, you are not the intellect. Because the aim and intention of the intellect does not match with, tally with your contentment. The intellect is wanting something for its own furtherance. And even if the intellect gets what it wants, it does not satisfy you. So you are not the intellect. But we identify deeply with the intellect and therefore we suffer. Please understand this. You are riding a cab, let's say. You are riding a cab. And the cab driver would be paid by the mile. So he has to increase the mileage. He has to maximize the number of kilometers for which the cab has been driven, right? That's the basis of his payment. You want to reach a point that is in front of you. Your destination is close, straightforward, obvious here. But you have turned yourself dependent on the cab driver. Now, the objectives of the cab driver do not tally with your objectives. It is in your best interests to move straight away and reach the destination. That's what you want. But the cab driver has his own plans. He has been configured differently. His system moves differently. So what does he do? He takes you on a long convoluted detour. And a journey that should have instantaneously finished keeps extending infinitely. You are you. And the cab and its driver are the intellect. Do not trust the intellect to take you to your destination. The intellect only knows to fulfill its own interests. You are being taken for a ride. That's what human life is all about. TakeMyTrip.com. You should have reached home long back, and you are still meandering, wandering. And the cab driver is smiling. His meter is ticking. You are trusting the wrong machine. The machine has no recognition for your interests. The machine has no empathy for you. In fact, the machine is helpless. Even if the machine wants to help you, it cannot. Don't trust that machine. That machine is what you think yourself to be. That machine is what you are not. If you want your welfare, don't trust yourself. That's the best you can do. You are sitting in the cab that is you. One has been referred to as the false you, and the other one as the real you. It is such an unfortunate situation, actually comical. The false is being relied upon to reach the true. How can the false take you to the true? That's not going to happen. But man has been doing that, trusting that, as we said, since the beginning of time. And now you would see why the word surrender is so magnificently important. The cab driver has to surrender to the objectives of the rider. The intellect has to surrender to the destination. The intellect cannot continue with its own goals, interests, and mechanisms. Left to itself, the intellect will never, I'm repeating this, will never take you home. Though it will keep promising. And it's a very expensive promise. Remember, the more you are trusting the cab, the more the meter is ticking. We keep paying for the ride all our life without ever reaching home. That's what human life is all about. Just keep making payments. Isn't that exactly what we are doing every day? We are just paying and paying without really ever achieving peace, silence, contentment in return. Payments we have made enough. We have paid through our blood. We have paid with our life. And we have been cheated and looted. The funny part is, the tragic part is, nobody outside of ourselves has come to rob us or loot us. We have been cheated and deceived by ourselves. You are the rider, you are the driver. Now where are you going to complain? You are riding your own cab. You are the one who decided to trust that driver. And the driver is sly. The driver is not even sly. The driver is just a machine. The driver does not know any better. Let's not call the driver bad names. The intellect is helpless, powerless, programmed, designed. It does not intend to harm you. If you are riding a bicycle and hope to take off, is the bicycle trying to deceive you? It's your foolishness that you trusted the wrong vehicle. And we are trusting just the wrong vehicle. Just the wrong vehicle. This vehicle is useful if you have to go to some place worldly. If you have to go to some place in this dimension, then this vehicle is useful. You want to solve a complex mathematical equation, the vehicle is useful. The intellect is useful. You want to add, subtract, you want to analyze, you want to differentiate, you want to tally. The intellect is useful. But that's not what you live for. Do you live to analyze and calculate? Please. If you want to come to that which you live for, then kindly do not trust the intellect. Now put your hand on your heart and tell me, what is it that you live for? Stones, buildings, bodies, ideologies, places, monuments, glory. Is that what you really live for? That which you live for, that which powers the breath, the one for whom the heart really beats, will remain elusive till you keep trusting the wrong driver, the wrong vehicle, the wrong machine. Don't turn the machine into a master. Let the machine be surrendered to the master. You must know what your aims are and let the machine be used to realize, fructify your aims. The machine won't be very useful. Often the right use of the machine is just that it must shut down. But whatever be the right use of the machine, let the machine be used only for that. Nothing beyond that. You can never think your way to peace. You can never analyze your way to love. And how will you live if you do not love? be able to compare your way to freedom. You cannot have God in your conscious memory. The internal equipment is very feeble, very helpless, very useless when it comes to the real purpose of life. And the real purpose of life is no hidden thing. One does not feel all right. One is restless. One is paranoid. One has phobias. One is jealous. One is insecure. One is ambitious. And all that hurts, doesn't it? All that hurts. So you know what the purpose of life is. What is the purpose of life? To give up that which hurts. But we cling to all that which hurts. That's the intellect. You cling the most to that which hurts and harms. This discussion would be incomplete without seeing who we are. At the physical mental level, we are just beings having a limited time span. 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. And that's just soil and time. That's just material and influences acting on the material. If you are prepared to remain just that much, then no wisdom, no spirituality is needed. But you very well know how you yearn for liberation. You very well know how you don't want to get obliterated. You want immortality. And liberation and immortality and simplicity and freedom. These are not material things, are they? Had freedom been material, you would have been able to hold it in your hands and lock it somewhere safe and secure. So, at another level, you are not the body, not the intellect. And that level is where you really belong. Why do I say that when you are two, one of the two is more real? The proof is evident. Which two am I talking of? The you who is the body, and all that the body wants is this and this and this. That's what the body wants, right? The proof is when you are lying unconscious in an hospital, the body is still happy when it is provided with the right contents, right nutrients. Which means that the body does not even want consciousness. You might be lying unconscious in a hospital, but the doctor still knows what would make your body happy. Does he not? In fact, when your body is to be made happy, you are often turned unconscious. First of all, anesthesia is delivered. Now consciousness is gone. and now the body is made happy. So the body has no direct yearning for consciousness. Let the consciousness go away. Body still wants to survive. But do you want to keep a body sans consciousness? What do you do with a person who is on a ventilator since 2 years? No consciousness, in coma, but the body is still surviving. What do you do with such a body? What do you do with such a body? You turn the ventilator off, because the body is of no use without consciousness. That's why I'm saying that between the two, the body and consciousness, you are really consciousness. And I'm not talking of just material consciousness. I'm talking of that consciousness for which Kabir Sahib says, Jaise khal luhar ki saans letu binu pran. जिस तन जिस घट प्रेम न संचरे सो तन जान मसान जैसे खाल लुहार की सांस लेत बिनु प्राण. It's not even about consciousness, it's about love. On one hand, you are the body. On the other hand, you are that which loves that. You are that to which only a feeble reference can be made. So the Upanishads utter in all their glory and equally in all their helplessness, Tattvam Asi. Nothing more can be said. How do we say that you are Shvetketu? Getting it? So you are the body, yes. And you are something beyond the body. And that does not need to be taught to you. When only the living body remains and that becomes dormant, then you take the body and go and burn it. Because you say now keeping this body alive is of no use. Turn off the ventilator. Go and dump him. The real thing is gone. The bird has gone. The cage remains. What to do with the cage? The bird is gone. Throw away the cage. And that is why several lovers of freedom often decide to give up the body if the body cannot be a host to freedom. Fighting great wars, they decide to give up life because they know that there is something more precious than physical life. So physical life can be sacrificed for the sake of that which is more precious than body. So now you are two, and out of these two, one is definitely and infinitely more precious. The body has to surrender to that which is more precious than the body. When I say body, I mean the body-mind apparatus, the whole thing. You are two, out of which one must be subservient. Otherwise, as Kabir said, the bag of the ironsmith, the leather bag of the ironsmith, that too seems like breathing. Jaise khal luhar ki, saans let binu pran. The ironsmith uses a leather bag to pump air into the furnace, and because it is pumping in and pumping out, So the leather bag appears to be breathing. Kabir, in his own unique ways, tells us most of us are like leather bags. Air comes in, air goes out, but there is no life. Air comes in, air goes out. जैसे खाल लुहार की सांस लेत बिन प्राण, but प्राण is not there. जिस घट प्रेम न संचरै सो तन जान मसान. That body is just like a graveyard, shamshan, masan. Something comes in, something goes out. Is that called life? But that's how we live. The body is surviving, the body is happy, the cab driver is very happy, the meter is ticking, but there is no life. The real thing is missing. Do you want to continue living and missing the real thing? How many of you? And is there anyone here who sees that the physical life, this life period of 60, 80 years, or sometimes less than that, is being totally wasted if the real purpose is not being achieved? Anybody here who sees that? Then stop trusting the driver. Don't throw the driver out of the vehicle. Just ask him to move straight. That is another exquisite foolishness. To blame the intellect so much that it shrivels and collapses. And that is often seen in so-called spiritual people. They are left with no intellect at all. They have cursed and abused the driver so much that he runs away. And now they are very happy. They say this is nirvichar. Now no thoughts arise. No thoughts arise now because you are brain dead. You have lost the capacity to think. You do not need a state where no thoughts arise. You need your thoughts to be aligned to your real purpose. And if thoughts are aligned to your real purpose, then they are sattvic. Then they do not dominate. And then they also don't keep lingering. They come, they do their small duty, and then they go away. That is real nirvicharita.